Now, there was that heart-stopping moment where he almost fell over coming down the stairs a day or two ago. He didn't use the railings. Jill wasn't there with him. Every time that happens, your heart is in your mouth because these things could be consequential. Is that a concern?
We've had presidents who've fallen before who were a lot younger, and people didn't go into, heart palpitations. His age is an issue, and people have every right to consider it. But, he has this great saying, and I think he's right. Don't judge him by running against the almighty, but against the alternative.
Well, even a former presidential candidate thinks concerns about Joe Biden's age are legitimate. Hillary Clinton, who ran as the Democratic nominee in the 2016 presidential election, was asked about the president's age by the Financial Times over the weekend. Editor Edward Luce questioned Ms. Clinton about the physical concerns regarding Joe Biden's ability to run for re-election. He referenced the fact that Joe Biden has been known to stumble on the odd occasion, even just a few days ago almost falling down some stairs while in Japan for the G7 summit. And Hillary Clinton didn't dismiss the concerns, just similar to what a lot of Biden supporters have said. She responded agreeing that Joe Biden's age is a concern. It is a concern for anyone. We've had presidents who had fallen before who were a lot younger and people didn't go into heart palpitations. But his age is an issue and people have every right to consider it. But he has this great saying, and I think he's right. Don't judge him for running against the almighty, but against the alternative. I am of the camp that I think he's determined to run. He has a good record that 3 years ago people would not have predicted would have gotten done. Now, despite representing the same party, Clinton's comments about Biden's age aren't a new notion. At 80 years old, he's the oldest sitting president in recent history, and if he won the election in 2024, he would finish his second term at 86 years old. Age in Congress in general has been topical as of late, and whether or not a retirement age limit needs to be instated. Republican presidential hopeful Nikki Haley even made the promise to force politicians over the age of 75 years old to sit a cognitive exam. The president announced that he was running for a second term in April, which was a surprise to some, given he has low polling and his cognitive abilities have been called into question the last few years. Within the same week Biden announced his run, an NBC News poll found 70% of Americans did not think he should run for a second term. In regards to if age was a factor into that, 69% said yes, it was. MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle asked the president about his age.
There's not a Fortune 500 company in the world looking to hire a CEO in his 80s. So why would an 82-year-old Joe Biden be the right person for the most important job in the world?
Because I've acquired a hell of a lot of wisdom. I know more than the vast majority of people. I'm more experienced than anybody who's ever run for the office. And I think I've proven myself to be honorable as well as also effective.
Earlier this month, I spoke exclusively to former White House doctor Ronny Jackson, who served under 3 presidents, Bush, Obama and Trump. Since even before Joe Biden was elected, the now Texas congressman has been calling for him to sit a cognitive test to prove he's sound of mind. And that's not just about his age, it's mostly about what Americans see, which is a president who stumbles and bumbles on stage, who struggles with the auto cue, who has gotten lost on stage numerous times, and whose team seems to protect him from fronting the media. Ronny Jackson believes Joe Biden shouldn't be running for a second term, and if he does, he needs to sit the exam.
Well, I think it's a shame. I don't think he's qualified to be our president right now, to be honest with you. I've been calling for a while now for him to leave, to resign, or to move on. I don't think he's cognitively fit to be our president. I think he's got all kinds of issues. I don't know exactly what his issues are. I've said all along, I'm not speaking as, I am a physician. And by the way, a physician that took care of 3 presidents. I took care of President Bush, President Obama, and President Trump. So I'm really familiar with what it takes, both physically and cognitively, to do the job of commander-in-chief and head of state in the U.S. government. I've worked side by side with him for decades. And he doesn't have what it takes. I don't know what's going on, but he's got some issues related to his age, some cognitive decline. He's confused most of the time. He doesn't know where he's at, what he's doing. He slurs his speech. He shuffles when he walks. He's just it doesn't inspire confidence in our allies. Our allies don't respect us and trust us anymore, and our adversaries don't respect us or fear us anymore. And that's just a recipe for disaster here in the United States. And so I I'm encouraging them. I've written a letter that will be coming out next week that will be signed by many members of Congress, requesting him to reconsider his efforts to run for office again for a second term, and or to submit to objective cognitive testing, much the way that President Trump did. President Trump had a cognitive test because the far left and the liberal press here in the United States were up in arms demanding that he have not only a physical exam but a cognitive assessment of some sort. And I was his physician at the time. We did that. He passed it with flying colors. And I think that if anyone needs that same test now, it's Joe Biden.